Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting installment of the Dead Air podcast. We're back, Blank.
We're back. This is actually so cool. We have the thing now, and it does all the thing for the podcast. We're so used to saying 3, 2, 1. Don't need to do that anymore. Podcast machine, do it for us. Very good. I was just telling Jacky about my food that I'm going to try and get sorted before this podcast is over. Probably like order it at some weird time, and it's going to come during the podcast, and it'll be upsetting. We'll go back to the hotel days. Basically, what I've been doing, right? I saw this like man on Instagram. Okay. And he's like an old Italian dude, but what he had, he was just sat on like this bench outside his house, really serene day, like the birds are chirping. Like there's none of this Instagram music going on either, like nothing to catch your attention. It's just him, big bowl of garlic sauce, and then just an assortment of vegetables. Like he's got cucumbers, carrots, and then like some meat, some sourdough bread, and there's just some cheese. But none of it's cut up, none of it's prepared. It's just laid out on the table inside a plastic bag. And he's just like ripping into it. It's like so primal. It was like got to a bygone time of like the Vikings, like at a table, like Skyrim vibes. And so I've been doing that recently. It's really good. It's boy dinner.
You've just been eating food by not preparing it and then just eeating it.
It's just fresh
element
from
by element.
Yeah, just from the ground. Like,
what do you mean?
I'll just like dip like a little bit of carrot in the garlic sauce, and I'll buy that off, and then I'll buy a little bit of bread and throw some cheese in my mouth, and just mix it together. It's quite good.
So you're like, what's his name from Always Sunny in Philadelphia? You're basically you've become Frank. You're just making sandwiches. You make sandwiches in his mouth because he prefers the way it tastes. So he just puts all the elements of the sandwich in his mouth.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay.
I don't like that it's from Sunny in Philadelphia because that makes me feel like I'm odd.
It is a bit odd. You are eating individual elements of food, but not quite. And also, what do you mean? Are you like laying them out in public across benches? Like that's an inconvenience.
No. What he was doing was a bit mad. Like he was just living his life right to his max. But I'm not doing that. Like I'll put it all on a plate, right? Or I'll put it on a board and I'll make myself feel like even more like I'm in the 1600s. And that's quite good. It's quite good. Honestly, I indulge you to try it. Please.
What are you even eating though? What is it you're eating?
It's just it's like I have like carrots.
Veg and fruit.
Yeah, like I have a carrot, an apple. I do chop up the avocado. Avocado is chopped. Sometimes I'll slap that on some bread, mush it in. What else do I have on there? Sometimes I throw a full onion in there. I did that recently. That was an interesting one. What else? There's just some meats, like some cooked chicken, maybe some sausage. I was talking about kielbasa earlier. I need some kielbasa. I'm running low on the kielbasa stocks.
This sounds mental. Like this sounds like such a weird diet trend you've decided to go down. Just eating food spread out.
Dude, I think it's because it like helped. I don't know. The ADHD loves it. There's no preparation involved than just peeling some veggies, like shaving them down. Is it you peel carrots? You peel carrots, right? You don't shave carrots.
Well, I mean, I don't think you have to. Technically, you can.
Nah, a bit hairy though, aren't they? Yeah.
Only at the end, but that's the root.
Yeah, but it's a little bit dirty. I like to give it a wash and then shave it.
They do grow in the dirt. So
yeah, they do. I'm not quite that. To be fair, that's quite like that would be next level. That would be next level Viking if I was just like
eating the carrots from the dirt,
from the ground.
It'd be good food, but you get some nice. I don't know, you build up your immune system, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's why we're all so ill because we don't eat from the ground anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. We need to eat more veg straight from the dirt.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my thing.
Funny thing is, that is true as well because that's how kids don't get like shit immune systems when they're growing up because they're always eating dirt. You notice like children constantly eat dirt in the mouth. I don't know why. Sand, they'll eat it. Dirt, they'll eat it. And you probably get all the germs. You build up your immune system from a young age.
Hey, that's a good point, actually, because when I was growing up, I used to hang around with this other kid, and he was super sheltered. Like, he would have a really early curfew time where he couldn't play out anymore.
He had no time to eat dirt.
He had no time to eat dirt. Get this, none of us were ill. He was ill all the time. Exactly, he was ill always. Yeah. He was too sheltered. Have you seen the film The Boy in the Bubble?
Yeah, Bubble Boy. When they put
Bubble
him in
Boy.
the big, like the Zorb,
Yeah.
roll him around town.
Yeah, he was like the guy that I knew. He was just ill. He was like looking out his window like, oh, playing footy.
Eat your spoonful of dirt. All right, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Bloody hell.
What was the obsession with mud cakes and all this stuff? I even know what one of those was.
Mud cakes?
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that would be more on...
A mud pie.
Yeah, I feel like that's the sort of thing you'd see on like the Cramp Twins. You remember that cartoon?
Yeah.
Remember the Cramp Twins? There was like the blue one and the normal one, and they used to bully each other.
Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah, but again, like I don't think I've ever experienced like an actual mud pie or mud cake, but it's always talked about all the time. Like, what is that?
I think it's just mud. I think it's just like you play with the mud. It just.
I don't think I've ever done that before.
No, it's that period in life when you're a child when it's acceptable. Like mud is fun. You know,
yeah,
there's a certain threshold of when dirt becomes like, oh, it's dirty. Before that, you're like, oh, dirt.
18-year-old just rolling around the mud.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm having so much fun. Oh,
turns 18 and a half. Oh,
dude, I'm just dirty now.
It stinks. It stinks.
It was actually so. There's a video. There's a video on Instagram. I think it went viral. I'm doing a lot of Instagram plugs here. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Other brands of scrolling website are available.
That you could do scroll, you know, and then forget that you'd also need to eat. But yeah, so there was a reel where it was this guy and he was walking along, and then his little pit bull terrier drags him really quickly, and he just flies off his feet onto his back, and he's just covered in mud. And he gets up, he like waddles off, and he's oh bloody hell. Funny thing is though, that reel, it's from the farmland that sits right behind my childhood home.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, I reckon that's Tong Park. I've doxed myself, but that's Tong Park.
Yeah. I used to live there.
I used to walk around that exact area, and I remember that getting very muddy, and I would avoid it because you go on the left side. Why would you walk through it? Imbecile. Yeah. I got chased by a big black horse. Almost died.
Ooh. Yeah. I got bit by a rabbit.
Bit? Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I was young.
Like
there was this. It was like an adventure playground, if you would imagine, but it was very unsafe and gigantic. It was all wood. It was this huge place. And it had like pirate ships and ropes and all sorts of stuff, right? But if you imagine it was big. Like it was a big place, very unsupervised. They had one kind of like concrete room at the front that basically you could go play pool, and they had like a little office where the one person at work there would be sat. Yeah, and they had a whole load of animals out the back. Yeah, you know. Yeah. And they had like you could paint Warhammer in the front, you know, in the early 2000s, or you could be in the back in the big like open space area.
In the back, getting loaded into the trucks.
It was mad, dude. Like genuinely, I think you could have just died exploring it, and no one would have known, or like broken a leg or something. You know what I mean? But one day I was there and I went to have a look at the animals because they had a whole load of animals as well in like a run adjacent to the play area. And I pet a rabbit and it instantly turned around and just bit me. But it bit me with such vitriol that its teeth like went through my hand.
Oh God!
And I was bleeding. And obviously I was a small child.
He impaled you?
I didn't know what to do, so I've just panicked. I got on my bike and I've cycled with such fury as fast as I could home. Because in my head, I was like, oh God, what if I've got tetanus? I was like,
got rabies.
Yeah. I was like, what if I've caught something from the rabbit? Like, he's just struck me. So I just fled, you know, on my bike. I'm off. I'm cycling home as quick as I could. But it was all fine. I got home and they said, "No, don't worry, your tetanus is up to date.
You're fine. Right. You're okay." Yeah, I do like that.
Get that clean.
You know, you're quite a solution-orientated man, actually. Because like, even as a child, it's a case of I don't know what to do here, but what I can do is I can fly home.
I'll know what
to do there.
Go ask someone that will know.
Because I think if that happened to me, I'd be like, "Whoa, I've been bit by a rabbit," and then I think I'd wander out and people would be like, "You're bleeding," I'd be like, "Yes." Not too sure what to do about that, actually.
What do I do now?
Yeah, we did kind of a similar place, but do you remember when they used to like have all these little farm areas and they used to open them up and it'd be like you playing with the hay bricks, like the bricks of hay. Yeah, more like boxes of cubes
They are
of
big,
hay.
yeah, big.
Yeah. And
hay
you could
squares.
you could hide in the hay. There was like hay hide and seek. Or hay maze. They did so much with the hay. It was crazy.
Hay used to go
Haze,
off, really.
yeah.
Hay.
Well, dude, it's like it was Minecraft before Minecraft. Do you know what I mean? People were building stuff out of blocks of hay. And then they did such a big one time, loads of kids got lost, and then they shut it down.
Just got lost forever.
Not forever. It wasn't like
they never came back.
It wasn't like it for like the clown. It's like the clowns in the hay. Like, come get this little tiny goat I've got for you here. Yeah, Georgie.
Captain Huntsable, we need you to get here quickly. 16 kids have gone missing. It's happened again.
It's happened
the
again.
damn hay.
But yeah, so they got like lost for an hour and a half, and because the maze,
hour and a half.
yeah, the maze was so well made, bro. It was so well made.
Just lost. So you just go through the hay. It's hay. You fucking climb it,
dude. It was hard hay. It was like it was solidly made. This hay
bricks painted to look like hay.
No. So it was a case of like they couldn't get out. And to be fair, the maze had been getting better, but I think the lad who like set up the maze this time around was like, you know what, I'm really fucking good at making mazes, man. And then I think he just went too hard and forgot that he was making this for like 8-9-year-olds. He's like, I'm gonna make a maze to end all mazes.
Really,
yeah.
Fake walls. He's putting mirrors in there. Landmines. Like,
yeah, dude. That's exactly what it was. But then he was just shut down. I actually, looking back, I feel bad because it's like he'd made such a good maze. And he was just punished for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there should have been some kind of system, you know?
Someone should be like, yeah, do you want to try the maze out? And be like, well, Steve, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah. Maybe like different tiers of maze. Kid maze, you know?
Yeah. Houdini maze.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. But the kids still stumble into the maze, you know?
They get lost and then it's their own fault.
They didn't read the sign. Can't read yet.
No.
Yeah.
Be like The Shining. They're all just frozen to some hay. Just stuck there.
We're just wandering through. Just kids.
Help me. Please help me. Yeah.
Well, okay, the question is, would you run? Would you run? If you saw that, would
if you
you
went
help?
into the hay maze and you saw a frozen child screaming, help me.
Yeah, there was just
pretty
several
freaked
of them.
out. Pretty much, this is weird.
Would you help them though?
I was pretty like, this is weird Halloween decoration. You know, like what's
I think I'd run.
I'd get out of there.
I'd feel bad after, but maybe we should have helped the kids. But it seemed like a dangerous situation.
You know, exactly. They've
Yeah,
been
I
stuck
can't
there,
peel them off.
fused together in ice, like some sort of ice homunculus. Like, it's time to go, you know. I'm afraid I've got to leave.
I've got take care of number one. That's me. That situation where we're like, right, well, look, if all 8 of us die, then what's it for? At least I can go on to tell your story.
Oh, exactly. You got to keep the keep the.
And potentially alert someone to the problem.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. I'm not just going to survive and be that and never tell anyone.
Just set fire to the maze, in which case it would warm them up. It would melt the ice.
Wait, it's ice?
Well, that's what I assumed. You know, they were all stuck together in The Shining, but they're all frozen together. Yeah. Not like they've been fused into the hay.
That's what
like Han Solo in Carbonite.
Yeah, no, that was my fault. Like just like half a head just sticking out the hay. Oh god, that'd be
awful.
That's terrifying. Yeah. You see why I was like, would you run? No.
The hay has consumed us. You know,
just like see the face just go slowly going away.
It goes back in and then pops out in another location.
You know,
it's like a Dark Souls boss or something.
Do you know like Homer? Like when he get like sucked into the hedge.
Yeah, when he goes into the hedge.
Yeah. That was just involuntary.
And then Marge Simpson's face pops out and goes, "Oh, homie!" And you're like, "Oh."
But instead of that, it's just a child, and he's like, "Where's me mud pie?" Oh god! Get away!
That is spooky.
Yeah.
This kind of it's like the pre-Halloween special now.
It is, yeah.
You know, basically, maybe every episode of the podcast this October can
What,
just be
Halloween?
themed.
Yeah, I think so.
Everything's Halloween themed.
I've got like orange Pachita back there. I think that's kind of good.
He kind of looks like a pumpkin, you know?
Yeah, got pumpkin vibes. Got a little chainsaw in his head.
They'll do that. They'll do a little brand deal, you know? They'll put a chainsaw through a pumpkin. That'll be there. There you go.
Foldable chainsaw. There we go. Perfect. I'm back. In focus.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
There we go. In focus.
There you go. Nice.
It's a bit temperamental.
Wonder, what they'll do with... I don't think we'll get anything this year because obviously it's still like the game isn't really out. But you know, with like Dota and CS back in the day,
we're talking
Valve
about Deadlock.
always used to, Valve always used to do really cool seasonal events for especially Dota. Dota used to get some of the coolest one dudes where like you get Dire Tide around October, you know, towards Halloween time, which is always very fun. Frostivus that had come around Christmas time. CS, you get some weird stuff now and then where one year they made the bomb basically look like it was like a gnome wrapped up. I think it was like gnome. Yeah, like Gnome Chomsky from Left 4 Dead, like the gnome model that always shows up in Valve games. It was that, but wrapped with like wrapping paper. So they replaced the bomb with that, and that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So you'd like gnome people when you plant in the bomb.
You've been gnomed.
They used to make the chickens wear Halloween costumes in CS back in the day.
That's quite cool. I like that. Yeah,
you'd have like ghost chicken, skeleton chicken, chicken with a mask.
Bring that back. Bring that back. Absolutely, 100%.
They did. It was weird stuff they used to do like that. They had like they had a game mode once where I'm pretty sure if you died, you had to like taser each other, and then when you died, you become a ghost and you'd fly around the map and haunt people in CS. That was cool.
Yeah.
All sorts of weird like event themed game modes, but obviously they've done that 3 years, right? In like CF2, Dota, stuff like that. So I do wonder, because I feel like Deadlock's the perfect game for that, of like weird seasonal events.
Yeah,
and Halloween's
I think so.
always a fun one. I think Halloween and Christmas, like those time periods, are always fun for video game events.
All right, here's an idea. Yeah, what do you think about this?
Okay.
You got Professor Dynamo. Okay.
Yep.
But on his little head, you know, 'cause his head's like little floating.
Yep.
He just like drapes a little napkin or like small sheet, and then cuts some eye holes in it, and he's like got a little floating ghost on his head. What do you think about that?
Well, but it is just a napkin, so he's like, "Lady guys, check this out." Pops it over.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a ghost. Yeah.
And he can have those little glasses over the front.
Yeah.
That
could be good.
You like that?
I'd like that. I think that kind of stuff would be fun. But
what about
like,
Gargoyle?
Well, Ivy. I don't know. What would be a Halloween?
Demon goat. Easily do the demon goat.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Mayhaps.
Yeah. You know what would have been cool, actually? Off topic from that.
Yeah.
If Ivy, the way that she looked like as a base model, was similar to like the some of the gargoyles you do have across the map. And then if you hit stone form, you look like 1-to-1.
Oh.
It'd be like a little prop hunt. You know what I mean? You can either use it for like the Kirby down smash.
Dude, that'd be good.
Or just prop hunt your way out where you're just like, I'm going to just hide right here.
I like that.
Past,
That'd be really good. Find the Ivy game mode. Coming soon, apparently.
Actually, just a prop hunt mode in general would kind of be fun.
Did you see the Slidey McSlide map? Yeah.
The Gabe follower has been working on. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That looks fun.
Let's have a little look.
It's like a big downwards ramp. It's like a helter-skelter from anyone that's ever been to England. Or I'm not sure if helter-skelter is a term that really translates outside of England, but basically it's a big circular slide. Dude,
this guy tweets a lot.
He's got a lot of tweet about, mate.
He's got a lot of content. I'll give him that.
Got a lot of tweet
it just take me a while to get to the video,
though. Yeah, but it's also hard to find stuff on Twitter these days, like keywords, that shit.
Just sounds like he's breathing in the background. I like it. It's good, a good atmosphere. Just like, there you go.
Are you enjoying the map?
You're liking the map right now. Yeah, that's cool. I'm enjoying that more and more custom maps are becoming a thing.
Yeah, it's sick. It's really good because I think a lot of what will help Deadlock sort of pop off in that sense will be some of those more customized things. It's like how I think refrag is a huge part of Counter-Strike. If you don't know what refrag is, it's basically like a platform where the developers have made a mod for CS that allows you to practice things in a very like religious way. So you'll have like all the most common angles and they'll pop out at you and you have to, kill them one by one, and it just trains your aim, but also like how angles need to be cleared. Little micro things that maybe, you're not thinking about as much. It goes even deeper than that with like how to use all the nades, and you do it in game. So you physically see it. It makes the most of the source engine. And obviously that was really sick for CS because it was like, oh wow, this is a really cool way of having a service in the game that teaches you so much more. And I think Deadlock could also have a lot of that, where like you've got a lot of the stuff already kind of in the game. If it was streamlined in a way where a little bit of help from someone that's like really passionate about modding or map making, especially as it gets more tools, I feel like a lot of that stuff could be done, where you can have like presets for rejuve steals in terms of the timing, to make sure you get it down each time. Like if you're in Furnace, you know when exactly to go for that push in based off the sound cues, stuff like that. Even like lash training. Imagine if it was you basically just have like Majestic Leap or a different combination of items, and you're in base and they're just wrecking your weakened patron. And all it is that like one instance of you being like, oh, okay, I can either go this way and bounce off the zip line to get enough height to pull them in, or I need to use the Majestic Leap into this. I think that kind of stuff would be really good for like drills on Deadlock, if anyone makes something like that. I don't know how doable it is.
Anybody? No, I think that's actually a good idea. There's loads of stuff you can do, like in fact, just like figure out timings on jungle camps, and then also figuring out the timings when you need to go back to the lane to catch a wave, stuff like that. A lot of little fun tidbits. I think it would be an interesting one to do, because I think you'd also, like you said, for Infernus, it'd have to be character specific stuff. And that would require more than one person, because you'd need to get like experts in on each hero. But as long as that one person like has that expert advice, be like, this is from this guy, but we're gonna create it in a format in which you can learn to play it properly. That'd be good. I'd like that. My only, in fact, it's not a concern, because I think in the future that would be very, very good. Right now, it's just there's so many changes happening all the time. Yeah. Bro, it is. I thought there was a lot of changes before, but it was a patch cycle every 1 week, right? There was quite a few changes. And now it was a patch cycle 2 weeks. There's meant to be less changes, but there's so many mini patches coming out because people are just optimizing like crazy. Optimizing like crazy. I mean, Ivy came out. Vegas was like, Spirit Ivy kind of good, and suddenly a day later nerfed, which is fair enough. And it's good to see that the Valve's like, somehow they're getting really good data, or they're just very, very locked in with the community right now, which I think is a bit of both. Because they are quickly like picking up on stuff that is a bit broken, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because the gun Kelvin was such an issue for a long time. I think they realized that they sort of need to be on top of things on a 2 week patch cycle, because you can't have just one character running around destroying every lobby for 2 weeks, because it's not fun.
Plus, it probably makes it harder for Valve to balance stuff as well, if then suddenly a lot of your data is invalid, because it's like, it was that one build with Kelvin, so the spike in his games mean that the other games aren't as accurate. Yeah. No, it's interesting. I think it's weird, right? Because it's so not Valve. That's the funny thing about Deadlock, is like, none of this is how they ever operated for years. Basically their stance with like communication to the public was like, we just ain't gonna do it unless we can show it to you and it's done and give it to you immediately. We're not going to talk about it, because I think they got so burned with basically like, you would say this is going to be a thing, and then it wouldn't happen because of external factors or everything through like Half-Life 2's development, where people were like, oh, you said these were episodic games, they're going to be coming out regularly, and then you've only released 2 of them and there's no third one, and people are just getting angrier and angrier for years, where Valve were like, all right, let's just tell them when it's done and when we can give it to them.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point in Counter-Strike's development, that kind of changed, where they were like getting involved a bit more, kind of chatting to the community, you know, and went from like radio silence to a little bit of having a chat now and then. But it's so weird how, like, obviously with Deadlock, it's basically been ever since it changed to Deadlock, and back towards like, you know, the start of this year, where they've been ramping up and feeling comfortable, like, okay, we want to get outside information on the game now rather than just in-house playtesting. You've had that basically since day one, right? They do like the friends and family invites to get everyone in, always expanding. But it's been developed with the community basically for the past, 6 months straight now, right? Like since they kind of got everyone involved to chat about it, which is so anti-Valve. But it's worked really well, which I think it's odd how much is out of their wheelhouse, but how much it's probably benefited Deadlock.
Yeah, it is interesting because it's like, what was that Gabe quote? Well, it's late is for just a little while, suck is forever. But it's kind of the opposite. I don't know if it is opposite because they are still taking the time of it. It's just like you can play it if you want whilst it's in its development process. And I think that for a game like Counter-Strike and Half-Life, a lot of these other games, it was a case of you could play it with a development team, and it was a case of, is it fun? And are these numbers working? I think there's so many moving parts in Deadlock. You need more than just the development team playing the game to figure out whether it works or not, to get it in that good state. So I think because a lot of people, it's like, it's a MOBA, but it's not a MOBA. It's a third-person shooter, but it's not a third-person shooter. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of genres. And I think that's why you need so many people playtesting it to make sure it works. Because it is sort of in its own genre. I think some people will go a little bit far to be like, it's its own thing entirely. It's like, I think it is, but it still fits into a lot of genres.
No, it's got, but that's what Valve have always done, right? Like they will look at kind of what exists and then find a way to push it further in a different direction. You know,
Half-Life Alyx,
exactly. Like you come in and it always feels like whenever Valve do something, it's a matter of like, this formula exists, they dilute it down and refine it and then add some additives and they throw a whole load of stuff on top, you know, and you're like, oh, that's sick. Yeah. Because that's what it was like. Half-Life Alyx is basically them proving like VR games can be to a ridiculously polished level. And still no one has beaten Half-Life Alyx in terms of like a VR game experience. That's the pinnacle, you know.
I played it the other day. I was like, this is insane. There's nothing close to this on the market. No, then I looked when it released and I was like, what? That long ago? It's insane.
No, dude, Valve owned it. Like, Alyx was a really cool kind of, especially for me at the time as well, because you had that drought, right? That's now kind of feeling like it's over. But for years, where it was a matter of, you had Portal 2, and then you had, you know, CSGO a year later in like 2012. And then what did we get for years? Like, other than Dota 2, I think was around a similar time as like 2012, basically.
Yeah.
But there wasn't much, right? There wasn't many Valve games. They were making hardware. They were focusing on completely different things.
Community went out of the way to make Black Mesa, didn't they? And it's like, so that all got sorted. I'm glad they didn't shut it down, though. I like they were like, it was pretty cool. Just let it happen.
Well, they're all right like that. I think usually their rule set with stuff is like, if you make something on the Source engine, as long as it's not for profit, it's fine. And then I think it's more, if you obviously are in communication with Valve and explain, and like you have to pay the licensing fee, then I think you can make profit off it if it's obviously like a mod of a previous game or something. But yeah, no, they've always been good with that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's weird that it's such it almost feels like a fractured timeline of like Valve as a company now, because you can see, especially like from being someone that's been in the CS scene for so long as well, like CS right now is ravenous. They're so angry every day about Counter-Strike, and it's getting out of hand. Like, there's some Valve devs that will tweet that basically are just like so far removed from the CS team itself, but they're doing like, you know, network updates and stuff. And people will see this and they'll just dogpile on them and be like, rah, 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 Deadlock this, rah, 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 Counter-Strike this.
It is so sad seeing the comparison, I will admit.
Mate, it's mad. And obviously this is someone that's like, I've been in both of these games for a long time now, right? Like, we've been in Deadlock since the start, kind of like sitting around being like, this is sick. I've been playing CS since like 2004, but it's gone too far. Like, people need to calm down. But these are human beings. Like, they're just going to work. They're just going to work.
They enjoy making the game, and it's a very different format, right? For CS2, I'm sure there's people working on it right now. But for Deadlock, like, there's so many updates because there are so many heroes to balance. Imagine every gun in CS2 had an extra 4 abilities attached to it. You would definitely see a lot more patch notes. But it's just the way of the game.
Well,
right? It's just the way of the game.
I think the other thing that people, again, sort of fail to realise is it's two very different ideologies, two very different games that have been going on for a long time, right? Like, CS2, it's out. Yeah, but it's also one of those where it's like, this has been being worked on for bloody ages. Like, it's not as if they started making it last year and then it came out and then they've gone, right, put that to one side. The entire time they've had Source 2 as an idea, they've been making it. But you know, it's been years of development. It's finally come out. And it's a bit of a feat, really, when you think about the fact you've basically translated a game built on someone else's old code, because they didn't even make the initial version of CSGO. It was Hidden Path. Into a game that... There goes the pop filter. Into a game on Source 2 that works basically the same as CSGO. I know, I've just butchered him. And that itself is like a crazy feat, right? But with Deadlock... Deadlock has been through how many working titles, how many themes? Like, it was Citadel, then it was Shadowline. Now it's, become its own thing again with Deadlock. Neon Prime in the mix as well. And it's a lot of stuff that already exists that you're just repackaging, remaking. So no wonder there's so many updates, right? Because you've got this like huge list, I imagine, of these are ideas we did want to keep. We just got to remake them and put them in. Plus, like you say, you're balancing 1,000,006 things every update. If they did that in CS, people go mental. Like, you know what I mean?
To be honest with you, the way I see it right now is that for CS2, they're at the top of the pyramid of development, right? You got the little tiny triangle at the top, and it's like, I'm doing this. People are like, Illuminati. I'm like, no. But yeah, they've got the little tiny triangle at the top, and then you've got the base foundation. They've already sorted all this stuff out. That's all fine. And these are the easiest things to fix. You go boom, 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 boom. Everything gets slightly harder. Now you're at the really nuanced stuff. People are like, something feels off. If you, as a player, know something feels off, but you can't actually describe it to a developer, that is a very difficult thing to fix, right? For Deadlock, on the other hand, they're at the bottom of the pyramid. These are all very easy fixes. It's like, Kelvin's gun does too much damage. Understood. Yeah. Let's tone that back. Yamato's spirit scaling is a bit too much. Okay, yeah, let's just tone that back by a couple of points. You changed Ivy. You tried to make her a little bit more interesting with her Kudzu Bomb. Kudzu Bomb's now broken. Okay, what did we change about it? It was the tier 3. Okay, we can just pull that back, revert that change, and bring the spirit scaling back down again. There's just loads of things that are just... They're easy to identify and they're quick to fix. Yeah, and I think that's the big difference. For and again, I think that's on this conversation. It's a good conversation because I do feel bad because everyone at Deadlock is like they just want to make their game, and it must feel a bit horrible being in the same company and then like oh, you're doing so many things. It's like CS2's been out for so long that the majority of the easy fixes are already done. Now you're trying to figure out. What is that weird missing factor going on right now? What are people unhappy about? Because a lot of people can't even vocabularize. Like, what's wrong? What's wrong with the game?
That's one of the biggest things that I think has been an issue for game developers and people for a long time now, especially with CS2's development. For Valve, I'd imagine it's probably a bit rough because there is so many of these instances where anytime someone has found something you can show it off in a repeatable way, they'll have it fixed by the next day. You know what I mean? They're one of those companies that if they get it logically in the sense that like, oh, heard a beep. What was that?
I don't know. Hello?
That was odd. Oh, I don't know. All right.
What beep did you hear? I've been hearing music in my head, but I'm
really?
Like, yeah, but I don't know if it's like
you've got something open in the background or just losing your mind.
The universe sings to me. It's like, what's going on? Yeah, I was like looking through all my tabs, and then you said there's a beep, and I'm like, is there a glitch in the Matrix going on right now? What's happening?
It's probably fine. It's probably fine. But yeah,
what's that melody?
It's one of those where, like, I know through some of the conversations I've had with Valve, it's like if you can prove something is a thing, then it will get changed. But obviously, if you can't articulate it and you're basically just going, I don't like this, they're going to, firstly go, okay, this person doesn't like it. B, can you repeat and explain in a way that we can recreate it why you don't like it? And then if you just go, no, but I just don't like it, that doesn't help anyone.
Yeah. I don't want to help that person either.
No, exactly, because it must be a bit frustrating when you're sat there like, I've got all this lines of code, all of this like rough idea of maybe what the problem is, but if I don't know how to cause it, I can't just fix it. And a lot of those things that were like bigger issues in CS2 have slowly been fixed up. Even with this last like big content update they did, a lot of it underneath the hood that wasn't even in the patch notes is them fixing things that people complain about. But because it's how Valve works. Like, it's why like so much of the stuff that we do when we do patch notice or when we cover changes, as much as you also look through the patch notes, you kind of have to think outside of the box of like, oh, what have people complained about this week that Valve have shown they're listening to? And then look for that stuff and test it just in case. Because people don't realize that they do a lot of stuff they don't tell you about. They can update the engine. They can change whole things. They can like tweak certain things to make the game feel more responsive, change animations. They do stuff just in Valve's own wheelhouse. And it makes the game feel better. But I think subconsciously a lot of people don't realize it because they just won't tell you. You know what I mean? Like they just omit some things where they're like, people will find it and they'll be happy about it.
Which is fair enough. And I mean, honestly, for Deadlock, I would genuinely, again, we're very appreciative of the devs. We don't want them to stop working as hard as they are. I'm not saying that it's, I'm saying that it's easy to identify fixes, and that does make it a little bit easier to fix. But I'm not saying that it's an easier job, it's an easier time, because it's not. Because there's like I said, there's a bajillion and one more things to figure out and do, and they're doing it on a 2-week patch cycle, which is impressive. And I hope that that's the case into the future as well, where it's still a 2-week patch cycle soon, even when we come out from playtesting, purely because I think in a MOBA you sort of need that. Right now, I honestly don't see the game being at a full release for a little while longer, because I think once we get to the point where patch notes are more like this size as opposed to this size, that's when you can think to yourself, all right, release is on the way. Because it needs to get to a point where it's just a few minor things getting changed patch to patch. That's when the game can be released, because it's so volatile right now. And I mean, even Listic was speaking about this on his stream, which is interesting. It was like someone was asking me like whether he enjoyed the patch or not currently. It's like he said he's not a massive fan of the current patch, and that's fine. Because he's been a fan of many of the previous patches. That's the problem right now, is that the game feels so different from every 2 weeks. It feels so different, like almost like a whole new game sometimes. And I think once they get to a point where they'd be like, this is how we want it to be going forward, where the game has like this consistent feeling throughout the patch cycles, that's when the release is going to start coming. But yeah, there's a bit of a tangent here. And I think that, again, Listic and whoever else is not enjoying this current patch is totally entitled to. But give that feedback to Valve. Absolutely give that feedback to Valve.
I think, again, it's like issue we were saying before, where you have to be very specific. Like, you've got to nail down why, and also give your reasoning behind, like, this change makes this feel worse because of this, and explain it in a way where it'll give them some useful information to go off of. But I mean, like, the game itself, right, has changed drastically every patch we've ever had. Even back when it was the 1-week patches, like, the game then to the game now has changed a lot, but the core like fundamentals are still pretty much the same, and it goes in like cycles of these characters get a bit worse, and then these characters get a bit better, and then these items become meta, and then you don't use them again for 2 months, and then they're meta again. Because it feels like you're always trying to like rejiggle, especially with the map changing drastically. Every couple patches, there's new avenues, new ways to play.
Yeah.
With new heroes coming in, because every time you add one new hero,
one item might become busted. Because the way they work with that hero, it's interesting. Definitely interesting.
That's what I mean. Like,
speaking about the map, though,
feels like a little drop. But I imagine one hero in now where we're nearly at 25 or something. We're getting up there. It's like 23, 22 heroes or something.
22. If I'm not mistaken. It could be. I thought it was 26 a couple of weeks ago. No, I was like,
know, yeah.
what am I on?
But either way, we're getting up there now, right? Like, it's more than there used to be. So I imagine every time you add one, that also does kind of screw over the game balance for everyone else, because some heroes work completely different. Like Jin's Mark, like the fact you basically just had a pop of damage on Mirage. Annoying. It was just like, well, okay, this is kind of crazy. And then his ult, even just the idea of how that works, might seem kind of like, oh, all right, you can balance that. But I feel like even the nature of some of these newer kits, it's the issues that I've always had with games with multiple characters, is I feel like as a developer, you get better at making newer kits, but then the older kits become less relevant and less balanced around the other kits. It's not that bad in Deadlock at the minute, where I feel like they're doing a pretty good job of, like, they go back in and they tidy things up, you know? But that always worries me with these kind of games.
Well, I like the way they're currently doing it, because I think people were expecting Holiday, and I think that's fair enough. But I personally think that I don't know if we'll get Holiday on this next patch, because I think that you're right, and it is a really good way of doing it from Valve, and it is going to take a little bit longer. That is Valve in a nutshell. It's going to take longer, but it's going to be better after we get to the end of that marathon, because what you said there is the most important thing, and that's the most important thing people should take away from this, is the fact that they'll release a hero, see what happens, check the patch, then they go back in and they adjust all the other previous heroes. And that's what you really want to see in a MOBA type game, is you don't want to just keep hitting power creep, because you're not getting one more hero, you're getting less than one more hero, because sometimes you get one more hero, but one hero become irrelevant. So you're essentially on the same page. Or you get one more hero, two heroes become irrelevant.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're losing heroes off the roster, so you want everyone to still be relevant, so that it's +1 to the roster every time. So there's a new person to play that is relevant, but so is everyone else still. And I think that's the smart way to go about it, and that's the way I hope they continue doing it. So if we get Holiday next patch, you can blame me, guys, for going against the grain. But I hope it's not the case.
The thing is with Holiday is I've seen Yoshi a few times now when people have asked. His response is basically just like, what do you like about her? He keeps asking people, like, why? What do you like? You know, because obviously in everyone's mind, right, it's kind of innately that human thing with video games where people just go, new, I want it, new character.
Cowboy.
Like,
Pat.
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's different, it's new. But he raises a good point, which is obviously from a development side, why do you want it? You know, like, what is it you like? Do you just like the theme? Do you like her kit? What about her kit do you like? Because every time they talk about it, it seems like Valve don't like her kit. It seems like there's something wrong with it that they don't like. And that's fair enough. Like, for anyone that doesn't realize as well, like, a lot of the characters you can access through the console and basically through their naming conventions, if you understand how to use the source console, a lot of these in development characters are there. You can play them, you can test them out, because obviously Valve are working on them, and it's a pre-release game. That's how that works. But their kits change. Like, Shiv changed a lot. You've had, not Nano, Calico, who's been changing.
Calico,
Yeah, a lot as well. Like, she's been getting updates. I think she has, like, a Fury Swipe claw attack right now, by the way, for one of her abilities. That's replaced something else she used to have, which looks kind of cool. So Valve are literally making cat girls for Deadlock, by the way, which is kind of sick.
Nice.
But I think it's... What was I talking about?
You're talking about Holiday. Why do you like it?
Yeah. It's one of those where I think
I'm listening.
They're basically saying, specifically, like, point out, like, what do you actually like about her
It's a
kit?
good
'Cause
point.
obviously, internally, Valve aren't happy with it, right? And if the people making the game think this kit doesn't fit right, it's probably a good thing she's not in yet. Because once she's in, she's out. You know what I mean? You've let her out of the cage. You can't put her back in the cage. It's gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, it's absolutely a nightmare. My caveman food's arriving soon, by the way.
How is it coming?
It's like here in a minute. And get my carrot about it. The dirtier, the better.
What did you order? Did you order just scraps of food? Or did you order actual food?
I got, like, some salami.
Okay.
Some kielbasa. Some carrots.
Wait, have you just
avocado
ordered from, like, a shop? You've ordered bits from a shop?
Yeah, sourdough and some chicken.
All right. That's fine. Pop that in the fridge. Lay that out on the park bench in a minute.
I will. I'm gonna wander out. I might actually just put it in a plastic bag and just eat it whilst pacing around outside my house in the little cul-de-sac that I live in.
You could. That'd be funny.
Maybe we'll be, like, confused, be worried about it.
start going over people's houses.
I just like, yeah, would you like a little bit of sausage?
I just wondered if you fancied a nibble.
Would you like it? All right, I'll be right back in 2 seconds.
Go on.
We'll do a little cut.
We'll do a little, time. We're back.
Hey!
There we go.
Mike's actually fallen off.
You've broken it.
Wait, I can fix it on the fly.
What have you done? Have you pulled it off the stand?
No, it's like one of those. Oh, one of those.
Is that a cat?
Yeah, it is. What are you guys doing out there? He just wants. I'm gonna go grab the.
Cats are fighting. The microphone's falling off. It wouldn't be a dead air podcast without constant noise. I do imagine what the audio experience is like if you're listening to this when at the gym. It's probably pretty aggro. Just ambient noise.
Yeah.
There he is.
Oh, the big man himself.
Oh.
What do you have to say for yourself, you demon?
He's shy. He's shy now.
He doesn't look that large here.
No. He's quite a big cat.
Yes. Likes a little bit of like a head chin scratch for some reason.
Yeah. They do. They enjoy a nice tickle. Aww.
He's so evil looking, isn't he?
He looks a bit like the Gremlins from the hit movie Gremlins.
Yeah, he does that. He's got a bit of a Gizmo vibe to him.
Yeah.
Or maybe like the evil one, like the bat one.
What, Spike? Is it Spike?
The bat gremlin, yeah.
Which one turns into a bat? Gremlins.
What's the one that turns into like a lady? A lady gremlin.
Yeah, the receptionist gremlin.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Gremlins were good, really. They should bring back Gremlins.
Yeah, Key and Peele did like the best sketch on Gremlins ever.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
like where he just the guy comes in and he's like, right, just shoot off your ideas of me. Lady Gremlin, Bat Gremlin, perfect. I love it. Give me more. It's really good. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. I don't do it justice.
We'll look into it. Yeah, mate. Bloody Gremlins. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time, the old Gremlins.
Yeah.
All right, then. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Spoke about Valve.
Hoppu.
Spoke about balancing.
Hoppu joined the development team from Risk of Rain 2.
He did, yeah. They acquired them, didn't they? They acquired Hoppu Games, and a lot of them have been brought over.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, they're a good team for it, but I did wonder where a lot of the staff would go, because this has happened a few times where Valve acquires studios, usually when they're doing like multiple projects or thing. It happened with Campo Santo. Do you remember the people that made Firewatch?
Yeah.
Valve incorporated Campo Santo. I think this is when they were making Half-Life Alyx, from what I remember. Mm-hmm. But then after Half-Life Alyx's development, everyone was gone. Like, no one from that team remained at Valve at that point. So this has happened before, where Valve will bring people on when they're doing something.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many of that team is obviously on Deadlock, but it fits them. Like, it fits their DNA.
The movement style as well and all that is very much Risk of Rain type of deal. And I'm glad that they did that, because they have moved more and more towards that like skillful movement. This is the longest he sat on my lap, by the way.
He loves it. He's gone. It's also just one of those games where it works in the sense of it's a lot of bouncing around. It's a lot of like, big moments that Risk of Rain has, where it feels very kind of, fast, aggro, very in your face. Like, that is what Deadlock's like. So I can see ideas there coming over, where maybe you'd come in and be like, hey, what if we change this to work this way? What if we make the double jump a little bit smoother like this? Like, because the movement's there, especially in Deadlock right now.
Absolutely. As well as like the massive amount of abilities and varying. I think the one thing that I was most excited, because I think a lot of people were on the movement style of things, but for Risk of Rain 2, there's a lot of characters that have varying kits, and some of the kits are really cool in the sense that they feel kind of weak at first, but if you've got the right play style, then it can be super strong. But you just need to be good at the character. And I think that's something I really like in MOBAs, is where you need to have that people with the right idea of how to create a character that synergizes well, to the point where it maybe doesn't feel great at first, but once you figure it out and people understand how to play it, then it becomes really fun. Because I think that's what they were very good at, is creating like a lot of characters that just have decent kits. Again, that's the thing. It's kits. That's the thing that they're very good at over Risk of Rain 2, and how to make them fun and engaging and enjoyable to play. So yeah, I hope that's something, some of the expertise they bring across. Not only that, as well as the movement, because I think, yeah, again, a lot of people have been hyping about the movement, but I'm more interested in the expertise on like the character kits, because at the moment with only 4 abilities and a lot of movement going on, you can't have the same abilities you would have in maybe Dota 2 or League of Legends work in that same format, because it's not isometric.
Yeah, exactly. You need a bit of a different spin on it. So I think that's a fun one. It also injects maybe some different people's outlook as well. So as much as I like the direction Deadlock's going in, it's always fun to have fresh eyes come in after a while, and maybe you think about it a bit differently from a dev standpoint, where you'd be like, oh, that's a cool idea, let's try that out. I know he was saying that basically you won't see much of his work in the next few updates, but then obviously once stuff starts to seep in. So we'll see what they're doing, and who else from the team is there as well, because right now for Valve, you've got a few things in the oven. You know, you've got Deadlock, maybe a new Half-Life game with all the stuff that keeps getting leaked about it that's been in development for ages. So maybe some people get put over there. They're working on Half-Life. A few people on CS2 maybe. Dota 2 as well, of course. You forget how much is actually going on in the office for them, which is
it's a big amount. It's crazy. It's wild. It's very, very wild.
It's a fun one. I don't know if this is still the way it works. It used to be, but I'm pretty sure basically every desk in Valve has wheels on it. And this was so that you could just go wherever you wanted. Like, say if you obviously were working in one area, but you were like, oh, I want to go work on that instead, you just wheel your desk over there and just keep on working. I think that was one of like,
that's
I
cool.
can't remember if that's hearsay or if that is true about Valve, but that's always a fun one of like the idea of their company structure.
Let's get a confirmation on that. We
have to break in. We'll break into Valve.
Shall I at Yoshi?
Does every desk at Valve have wheels on it?
Yeah. Let's see if it replies.
Do they roll around the office?
I'll at him and we'll get an update on that.
Yeah,
we'll
bring that in for the next podcast. I'm trying to think when the next one will be, because we'll probably be busy next week as well, because obviously very busy.
This has to be a quick one, because I'm currently working today and I've got work in about 10 minutes or so.
There you go.
I've got rehearsals. A little bit
We've
of
all been very, very busy. It's why some of the usual content's been out of whack. We've been setting up the event, getting the event ready. Charity Clash at Red Bull, now sponsored by Intel as well. Intel are on board, which is fantastic. So CPUs, GPUs, mouse mats. They were very generous, looking to help us out with some stuff there. So that's fun. We're working with Intel. Red Bull been super nice about everything, so we're getting.
It's all gone crazy, really. Yeah, it's all gone really crazy.
We got a lot of people, obviously all the creators that are involved, all the special guests, some of them to be announced.
Honestly, what's gone on? Again, I'm gonna say this every time. I remember a couple months ago being like, "Wow, 100 subscribers! Thank you so much, guys. Love you all." To I think we're just now on 15k now.
I think we're about to hit it today.
We're about to hit it today. 15,000 subscribers. Absolutely nutty. Thank you so much, everyone, for all your support, all your love, all your help, all your dedication to Deadlock in general, not just us over here at Dead. We appreciate that too. But yeah, so it's been a really wild ride. And again, like Jacky says, it has been a bit out of whack recently, but we're getting back on it. Again. My work day has just been a hella weird time. It's like in the middle of the day until the evening. So, and obviously I'm a gamer, so I don't wake up until 1 p.m. So it's just awkward.
Yeah, it's all throwing everything out of whack. It's just been busy. We've been mid-house move, so trying to track down houses. We're both balancing it around work, so it's all full on. Especially, it was rough as well. Last patch, I was doing all the arena walkout VO for the Blast Blast finals, the full final. But obviously, the problem is we have to wait until all the game ends. so that I can come up with storylines and a script, then record it all, and then make it match what the editors make for the walkouts for everyone in the arena. So it's a whole process. So that was taking till like 3-4 a.m. every night. When the patch drops, that's where patch notes got delayed, and then more patches came out, and then we were busy with other stuff. So things got put on the back burner. And then obviously all we're doing is just planning the event, making sure the event runs, which is why next week that's going to be happening. That'll be on the Twitch. That'll be fun. Everything will be going on. We'll raise money for charity. Hopefully make some good money for Special Effect, help them out, have a good time, cast some Deadlock. That's kind of the plan. That's what we're doing now.
It's going to be really good. If you've watched Free Run, No Free Run, basically right now, for me and Jacky, we're basically free run. Life is the small mimic chest that eats her. We're currently stuck in it. But we're being dragged back out. The party's dragging us back out right now. We're going to get right back to it. It's been an interesting time. But we're super excited for the Red Bull event. And then we'll be back to normal proceedings. Hopefully more events in the future that we can sort out. Also, you should, if this does release today, and you haven't watched already, go watch the Seagull Tourney. Should be really good. Very excited for it. I'll be watching it tonight too.
I don't know if we will publish this today. We're publishing this today? I mean, it's Saturday. Where do we don't publish them on Saturdays, right?
Yeah.
Could post it today.
If it comes out today. Doesn't have to. Doesn't have to.
We'll see. Maybe. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, you'll know. Whoever's listening now, you'll know what day it
you'll
is.
Know.
But yeah. But basically, that's what's up. As your little Deadlock, Dead Air podcast fixed for now. Regular programming will continue soon. More Deadlock chat and adjacent things, all sorts of stuff. And me, Damp, and Blank will all be in person in London next week at the Rebel Gaming Sphere for the charity
Come on
clash.
down if you're around.
Check it out, yeah. Go and have a look at the Wikipedia page if you're not, and then go, oh, that looks nice. But yeah, otherwise, that's basically it for this week's show, I suppose.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Thank you so much for joining me and Jacky here at Dead Air, and we'll see you the Red Bull Gaming Arena.
The Red Bull Gaming Sphere.
For the Deadlock charity content creator clash. Very excited for it. See you guys there. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-ra.
Bye-bye.